So last time we were discussing about immunity, and now there are two types of immune responses or immunities which are present in our body. One we called as innate or non-specific immunity, and another we called as adaptive or specific immunity. As we discussed in the last lecture, this innate or non-specific immunity, it is provided to us by skin, by mucosa, by phagocytes, by inflammatory response, by saliva, and by tears. Last time we discussed the role of skin as an as a barrier to pathogens. We discussed last time what are the different layers of skin, how they protect us from the entry of pathogens, right? Now today we are going to discuss about mucosa. We also discussed a little bit about mucosa. I told you last time what is mucosa, where this mucosa is found. As you might be remembering, I told you that this mucosa, it is present on in the hollow visceral cavities of our body. It lines the hollow cavities of the body. As it is present in the gastrointestinal tract, lumen of gastrointestinal tract is lined by mucosa. Lumen of respiratory tract is lined by mucosa. Lumen of urinogenital system is lined by mucosa, right? So last time I told you that this mucosa, it is externally covered by a layer of mucus, and that mucus is very resistant, that is very tough, that protects our stomach from the action of its enzymes and acids, right? And I also told you that this mucosa prevents the entry of pathogens into our bloodstream from the hollow cavities of our body, right? Now, in this mucosa, there are certain lymphoid tissues. The lymphoid tissues which are present in mucosa, there are some lymphoid tissues. Lymphoid tissues which are present in mucosa, they are known as MALT. So this acronym MALT, it stands for mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. Lymphoid tissue. So in mucosa, we have got some lymphoid tissues. Those lymphoid tissues which are associated with mucosa, which are associated with this mucous membrane, that is known as MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. This MALT, it forms 50% of total lymphoid tissue. Total lymphoid tissues of our body. Mucosa, which has MALT associated with it. This MALT forms 50% of total lymphoid tissue of our body. It forms total 50% of total lymphoid tissues of our body. Tissue of our body. So 50% of the lymphoid tissue of our body is associated with mucosa. So it protects us from the entry of pathogen, right? So in this lymphoid tissue, there are lymphocytes. Those lymphocytes kill the pathogen, which may pierce through the mucosa, right? So it provides us immunity, right? So this MALT is very much important for providing immunity to our body. And this MALT, mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue, it is present in the mucosa. We classify this mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue into various types. We classify this mucosa-associated lymphoid tissues into various types. What are its different types which are present in our body tissues? So first of all, this MALT is classified into different types. So its first type is known as BALT. BALT stands for bronchus associated lymphoid tissues. So we have got lymphoid tissues in our bronchi. Bronchi, they are formed by the division of the trachea. So our respiratory tract starts from the trachea. Then trachea divide, they form bronchi. Bronchi further divide, they form secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, respiratory bronchioles, right? So this respiratory tree of our respiratory system, it is internally lined by mucosa. And in that mucosa, there is a lymphoid tissue known as BALT, bronchus associated lymphoid tissue. So any pathogen which may enter into our body through inhaled air is dealt with by this bronchus associated lymphoid tissue, right? Then we have got called CALT, called conjunctiva associated lymphoid tissue. You know, our exposed part of the eye is covered by a thin membrane. That thin membrane which covers the exposed part of our eye, that is known as conjunctiva. And that conjunctiva has some mucus, some lymphoid tissues in it. The lymphoid tissue which is present in the conjunctiva of eye, that is known as called conjunctiva associated lymphoid tissue. So any pathogen which may try to enter into the eyeball through our exposed part of the eyeball, that pathogen will be dealt with this lymphoid tissue which is present in the conjunctiva. Then we have got GALT. This is known as gut associated lymphoid tissue. You know what is gut? Gut is the alimentary canal. Gut is the second name for alimentary canal. Through this alimentary canal, we take food. We ingest food through our mouth. Along with that ingest food, we may ingest some pathogens as well. So those pathogens, they may try to pierce through the mucous membrane and they may try to go into blood circulation. But those pathogens are stopped from entering into our blood circulation by this lymphoid tissue, which is present in the mucosa of the gut. So this lymphoid tissue, which is present in the mucosa of the gut, that is known as GALT. It protects us from the entry of pathogens through our alimentary canal, right? Then we have got another type that is known as LALT. LALT, LALT, larynx associated lymphoid tissue. So our larynx, which is on top of the trachea, just first we have got oral cavity. Oral cavity is followed by pharyngeal cavity. Then pharyngeal cavity opens into larynx. In the larynx, there is mucous membrane, and in that mucous membrane, there is lymphoid tissue. That lymphoid tissue is known as larynx-associated lymphoid tissue. It protects us from the entry of pathogens. Then we have got NALT, NALT, NALT. You have to remember these acronyms. NALT stands for nasal-associated lymphoid tissues. So there are some lymphoid tissues in the epithelium of our nasal chambers. We inhale atmospheric air through our nose. This inhaled air goes into nasal chambers. Nasal chambers are lined by mucous membrane. And in that mucous membrane, there is lymphoid tissue. That lymphoid tissue, which is present in the mucous membrane of the nasal chambers, that is known as NALT, nasal associated lymphoid tissue. So it again protects our body from the entry of pathogens. It kills the pathogens. There are lymphocytes there, T lymphocytes, or there may be some other types of lymphocytes. They kill the pathogens, right? Then we have got SALT, 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 skin associated lymphoid tissues. Skin associated lymphoid tissues. So just beneath the skin, we have connective tissue, and in that connective tissue, there are lymphoid tissue. There is lymphatic tissue. So this lymphatic tissue, which is present beneath the skin, that is known as skin associated lymphoid tissue, or we simply call it as SALT, skin associated lymphoid tissue. So if our skin is cut, pathogen tries to enter into the body. This lymphoid tissue, it bears lymphocytes in it, and those lymphocytes try to kill the pathogen. So they protect the pathogen, they prevent the entry of pathogen into our blood circulation, right? Then we have got TALT, TALT, TALT. Is it visible? Yes. Testes associated lymphoid tissue. Testes associated lymphoid tissue. So this lymphoid tissue is present in our testes. So it protects our testes from the entry of pathogen, right? So this is known as TALT, testes associated lymphoid tissue. Similarly, then we have got walled. vulvovagina associated lymphoid tissues. Lymphoid tissues. So in our urinogenital system, there is vulva in the females and vagina in the females. This vulva and vagina of the females, it is prone to the entry of pathogens. So it is protected by lymphoid tissue. The lymphoid tissue which is present in the mucous membrane of the vulva and the vagina, that is known as vault. So it deals with the pathogens. It has got lymphocytes there in it. So those lymphocytes, they tackle the pathogens which may enter into the vulva and vagina of the female, right? So this is the classification of mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue, right? So all these tissue, Balt, Calt, Galt, Lalt, Nalt, Salt, Talt, and Walt, they form 50% of total lymphoid tissues of our body, right? So 50% of the total lymphoid tissue of our body is associated with the mucous membrane. So all the hollow visceral cavities of our body, they are internally lined by a protective covering known as mucous membrane. And in that mucous membrane, we have got lymphoid tissue, where the lymphocytes reside. And if a pathogen breaks the barrier, if the pathogen enters through the mucous membrane, if pathogen somehow enters through mucous membrane, then that pathogen is then tackled by this lymphoid tissue, which is present in the mucous membranes. And these lymphoid tissues, they contain lymphocytes. And those lymphocytes try to kill the pathogen. They destroy the pathogen. And they prevent the entry of pathogen into our blood circulation, right? So this is how mucosa protects our body, right? So mucosa, in addition to skin, it also protects our body. It forms second generalized mechanism of defense against the entry of pathogens. As I told you, our body is externally covered by skin. What is the main function of the skin? It acts as a barrier. It stops the entry of pathogen into our body, right? Then after skin, we have got mucosa. Where mucosa is present, it lines the hollow visceral cavities of the body. All the hollow cavities of the body, they are internally covered by a protective covering known as mucosa, right? In this mucosa, we have got lymphoid tissue. That lymphoid tissue which is present in this mucosa, that is known as MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. What is the function of this lymphoid tissue? It protects the body from the entry of pathogens. If any pathogen pierces through the mucous membrane, if any pathogen penetrates the mucous membrane, now it enters into the connective tissue, lamina propria. In that connective tissue, we have got lymphoid tissue, where the lymphocytes are present. These lymphocytes, they kill the pathogen, they destroy the pathogen, or they stimulate the other components of the immune system, right? So that way, they protect the body from the entry of pathogen. Then we classify this malt into different types. We first classify it into BALT, B-A-L-T. It is an acronym for bronchus-associated lymphoid tissue. So in the bronchi of our respiratory system, there is lymphoid tissue. That lymphoid tissue is known as BALT. Then we have got CALT, conjunctiva-associated lymphoid tissue. Our eyes, they are located in the orbits, but some part of our eye is exposed to direct environment, right? This part of the eye which is directly exposed to external environment, it is covered by a protective membrane that is known as conjunctiva. Just below the conjunctiva, we have got lymphoid tissue. That lymphoid tissue which is present just below the conjunctiva, that is known as CALT. And it also has got lymphocytes in it, which kill the pathogens which may pierce through the conjunctiva. Then we have got GALT, gut-associated lymphoid tissue. Gut means alimentary canal. So we take in food through our mouth. Along with that food, we may take some pathogens as well. Those pathogens may cross the mucous membrane. Although first the mucous membrane will stop the pathogen entry. Somehow, if the pathogen manages to cross the mucous membrane, then pathogen will come in contact with the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. And the lymphocytes there will kill the pathogen, or they will stimulate the remaining part of the immune system. Then we have got LALT, larynx-associated lymphoid tissue. Our larynx, which is also known as sound box, it is also lined by mucosa, And in that mucosa, we have got lymphoid tissue that is known as LALT, larynx associated lymphoid tissue. Then we have got NALT, NALT, NALT. It is acronym for nasal associated lymphoid tissue. So our nasal chambers through which we inhale the air, that is also lined by mucosa. And in that mucosa, we have got lymphoid tissue that is known as NALT, nasal associated lymphoid tissue. Then we have got SALT, skin associated lymphoid tissue. Just below the skin, we have got lymphoid tissue. That lymphoid tissue is known as skin associated lymphoid tissue. If somehow pathogen enters through the skin, if our skin is cut, a pathogen may gain entry through the skin. Just below the skin, there is SALT, skin associated lymphoid tissue. The lymphocyte is there, they will try to kill the pathogen or they will try to stimulate the remaining part of the immune system. Then we have got TALT, testes associated lymphoid tissue. So this lymphoid tissue, it is present in our testes, and the lymphocytes present here in it protect the testes from the entry of pathogens. Then we have got VALT, vulvovagina associated lymphoid tissue. So it is present in females, right? It protects their vulva and vagina from the entry of pathogens. If pathogen enters, if the pathogen crosses through the mucous membrane of vulva and vagina, then this pathogen comes in contact with the VALT, vulvovagina associated lymphoid tissue. The lymphocytes present there, they will kill the pathogen, they will destroy the pathogen, and they may stimulate the remaining part of the immune system for tackling the pathogen, right? So in this way, this mucosa, it serves as second line of defense against the entry of pathogen in our body, right? So that was all about mucosa, right? Then after that, we have got phagocytes. So another component of innate or non-specific immunity is phagocytes. So what are these cells? These phagocytes are the cells which eat up the pathogen. They eat up the pathogens by phagocytosis. By phagocytosis. So these are the cells which eat up the pathogens by the process of phagocytosis. I hope you know what is phagocytosis. So whenever a foreign particle comes in contact with certain specific cells of our body, these cells of the body, they produce pseudopodia or false feet around this particle. And these pseudopodia, they meet and they engulf the particle. And they engulf the particle. So this engulfing of the foreign particle by certain cells of our body to kill them, this is known as to digest them. This is known as phagocytosis, right? You know, in our body there are two types of phagocytes. In our body there are two types of phagocytic cells. These phagocytic cells, they are mostly present in the blood. We have got in our blood macrophages and macrophages. Macrophages are small phagocytic cells. They are small phagocytic cells of blood. While as macrophages, they are large phagocytic cells of blood. So which cells of the blood are known as macrophages? You know, in our blood, there are different types of cells. We have got RBCs, WBCs and platelets. One class of WBC is known as microphages. Macrophages are commonly the neutrophils. Neutrophils are commonly known as microphages. Neutrophils are commonly known as microphages. While as macrophages, they are the monocytes. Monocytes, they are commonly known as the macrophages. WBCs, as you may be remembering, there are two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes, they include neutrophils, they include eosinophils, and they include basophils. While as agranulocytes, they include lymphocytes and monocytes, right? So these monocytes, they are known as macrophages. So they are the large phagocytic cells of the body. Neutrophils, they are known as microphages. They are the small phagocytic cells of the body. Then these phagocytic cells, they migrate out from the blood and they go into different tissues of the body. These monocytes or macrophages, mostly they migrate out from the blood circulation through capillary walls and they migrate into different tissues of the body. So depending upon the tissue where they reside, they are classified into different types. So first we will discuss what is this movement of monocytes out of the blood circulation known as. So monocytes are the cells which migrate out from the blood circulation into different body tissues. This movement of monocytes out of the blood circulation into different body tissue, it is known as leukocyte extravasation. Leukocyte extravasation. So it is the migration of these phagocytic cells out from the blood into different body tissues, right? So this movement of phagocytic cells out of blood into different body tissues, it is known as leukocyte extravasation. So these monocytes, they come out of blood circulation. These monocytes, they come out of blood. And then they go into different body tissues. And accordingly, they are named there, right? For example, some monocytes, they go into lung alveoli. They are known as alveolar macrophage. So they are present in lung alveoli. So those monocytes which leave the blood circulation and move out and then reside in lung alveoli. Those monocytes are known as alveolar macrophages, right? Similarly, some monocytes, they come out of the blood circulation and they reside in bones. These monocytes, which come out of the blood circulation and reside in bones, they are known as osteoclasts. We call them as bone resorbing cells. Or bone dissolving cells, right? So what are these osteoclasts actually? They are the monocytes which have migrated out of the blood and have resided now in bones. Some monocytes, they may reside in bone marrow. They may not come out of blood. Some monocytes may not come out of blood circulation. They may reside in bone marrow or they may be residing still in blood. They are known as monocytes. So when they do not come out of blood circulation, they are known by their original name as monocytes. Some monocytes, they come out and they migrate to central nervous system. Those monocytes which come out of blood circulation and reside in central nervous system, they are known as glia cells. The monocytes which come out of blood circulation and then reside in central nervous system. Here they are known as glia cells, right? So they are the phagocytic cells. Similarly, some monocytes, they come out of the blood circulation and reside in kidneys. Those monocytes which reside in kidneys, they are known as intraglomerular. Intraglomerular. So they reside in glomerulus of the nephron. They are known as intraglomerular mesangial cells. So those monocytes which come out of the blood and reside in the glomerulus of the nephron, they are known as intraglomerular mesangial cells. Similarly, some monocytes, they reside in liver. Those monocytes which settle in liver, they are known as Kupffer cells of liver. They are known as Kupffer cells of liver. Those monocytes which come out of blood circulation and then stay in liver, there they are known as Kupffer cells. Some monocytes, they come out of blood circulation and stay in skin and mucosa. Skin and mucosa. Those monocytes which reside in skin and mucosa, they are known as Langerhans cells. They are known as Langerhans cells. So the monocytes which are residing in skin and mucosa, they are known as Langerhans cells. Similarly, some monocytes, they reside in spleen. Some monocytes reside in spleen. They are known as sinusoidal macrophage. Right? So in this way, these monocytes, when they migrate out of the blood circulation, this process of escape of monocytes from blood circulation into different tissue, that is known as leukocyte extravasation. So by the process of leukocyte extravasation, monocytes may reside in lung alveoli. When monocytes reside in lung alveoli, there they are known as alveolar macrophages. Some monocytes, they reside in bones. Those monocytes are known as osteoclasts. Some monocytes remain in bone marrow and blood circulation. They do not come out. There they are simply known as monocytes. Some monocytes, they come out of blood circulation and migrate to central nervous system. They migrate to brain and spinal cord. So those monocytes which come out of blood circulation and reside in brain and spinal cord, they are known as glia cells. So they protect the neurons, they protect the brain and spinal cord from the entry of pathogen. Some monocytes, they come out of blood circulation and reside in glomerulus of the nephrons in kidneys. So those monocytes which reside in the glomeruli of nephrons of kidneys, they are known as intraglomerular mesangial cells. They are known as intraglomerular mesangial cells. Some monocytes, they reside in liver. Those monocytes which stay in liver, they are known as Kupffer cells of liver. They protect the liver from the entry of pathogen. Some monocytes reside in mucosa of skin. Some monocytes, they reside in skin and mucous membranes of the body. Those monocytes which remain in skin and mucosa of the body, they are known as Langerhans cells. And some monocytes, they reside in spleen. They leave the blood and go and sit in spleen. Those monocytes are known as sinusoidal macrophages, right? So on the basis of the site where these monocytes reside after escaping from blood circulation, we name them differently. So we call them as alveolar macrophages, we call them as osteoclasts, we call them as glia cells, we call them as intraglomerular mesangial cells, we may call them as Kupffer cells, we may call them as Langerhans cells, we may call them as sinusoidal macrophages, right? So all these monocytes, they are phagocytic cells. and they eat up the pathogen which enter into these parts of the body, right? So that is all about the role of phagocytes. So phagocytes are the cells which kill the pathogen, which eat up the pathogen in different body tissues. What is the origin of these phagocytes? So these phagocytes, they are particularly formed in blood. They are derived from a type of blood cell known as monocyte. These monocytes, they escape the blood circulation by a process of leukocyte extravasation, and then they reside in different tissues of the body where we name them differently. So what is their function? Their function is to eat up the pathogen, destroy the pathogen, and in addition to that, they serve in antigen presentation along with other antigen presenting cells of the body. So I think this is sufficient. Let me see first how much time we have. I think this is sufficient for today. Thank you for being with me. Our time is running out.